What is up, YouTube? I'm Chuck the Liberty Geek on the Voluntary Virtues Network. Thank you, Michael Shanklin. You know what was the best part of E3 this year? Rainbow Six Siege. Let's talk some anarchy. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different from the other two episodes I've done. Which, by the way, guys, thank you very much. My first episode has broken 100 views. Awesome. I got two guests today. I have with me today Jacob Morris. And I also have Randall Parker Jr., who has done a couple shows here on the Voluntary Virtues Network. So Randall is not at a seat. Oh, there's Randall. So Jacob, let's start with you. Why don't you tell the audience? Haha, I forgot to mute my stream. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you. I love that. Sorry. So, Jacob, let's start with you. Tell me who you are, and well, not just me, tell the audience who you are, and if you want to plug anything, go ahead and plug it.
Hello, I'm Jacob Morris. That's Jacob with a K. I'm very anal about that. I'm the good-looking one, and I also do co-host for the Bogosity podcast, run by Shane Killian.
Beautiful. All right, Randall. Why don't we tell the audience? I'm sure every one of my viewers knows who you are because you're definitely a popular one on the VVN. But just in case for like those two new people who might not know, we've got three now. Let's see how far we can get today. But why don't you let us know who you are and go ahead and plug some of your shows. I know you got two of them at least.
Yeah, it's just two right now. I appreciate that. Yeah, you said a lot of nice things about me. I appreciate that. Nah, man. My name's Randall Parker Jr., and I'm a host of two shows on Voluntary Virtues. I have my Road to Liberty podcast. Ooh, I lost my video. It's all right. I got my Road to Liberty podcast on Fridays, which just aired from 8 to 9. And then I have a Bitcoin show called the Coin Pros Crypto Talk Hour, which airs on Wednesdays from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. on the same network. That's about it.
Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? Speaking of cryptocurrency, let's go ahead. So today I have two guests, including myself. Each of us are going to bring a topic for a roundtable discussion. Some might be a more heavy-handed topic, and some of it might be more lighthearted. You never know. Liberty Geek is imaginative. Bad word. Anyways, Randall, let's go ahead and start with your topic. What did you want to talk about today or tonight?
I want to talk about crypto anarchy. And I could start by telling people kind of what that is, if you'd like.
Sure, go ahead. You're the one with the talk show on it.
Yeah, well, my talk show is not about crypto anarchy because technically CoinPros is a website that doesn't have any political affiliation. They're just a cryptocurrency website, and they're my sponsor. So the show doesn't delve too much into like macho libertarian flash or anything like that, or super anarchistic, concepts, but crypto anarchy is the notion that you can achieve anarchy in a sense, or at least practice anarchy using cryptography. And cryptography is a means of encrypting or codifying a message, so basically using codes. So I could try to send you a message saying, I have a gold bar buried in the ground at X and Y and Z coordinates, and you might have basically a key to unlock the message. And I send you what looks like a garbled series of characters. It could be ones, sevens, zeros, uppercase, lowercase. No one interfering with that message would be able to understand what we're communicating to each other. You get it. You put your key in, and you go, oh, shoot. Randall's got a gold bar for me at X, Y, and Z coordinates, and I'm going to go scoop that up and send him a message back telling him where to receive his item for consideration, or whatever the case may be. Is that something that you can get where I'm coming from with so far, Chuck?
I think so, and I know a little bit about them. Not too much, not quite as much as I should, which is pretty bad of me considering I call myself the Liberty Geek. But I do know a little bit. I know I know the big names. I know Bitcoin. I know Dogecoin. I know Litecoin. I know Potcoin, which I know you're huge on. I know the coins. I don't know how. I know a little bit. I know about like encryption stuff and stuff like that. A little bit. All right. I'm no programmer or anything like that. I know a little bit, but I think that this is a great topic, and I think that this is easily, if we're going for an anarchist future, this is easily the way to go, especially in the coin areas. And what exactly makes you so interested in it?
Right. So I want to say, because I have a short period of time to speak on it here, that I don't want to get lost on the coinage of it, like the Bitcoin, the Litecoin, the Dogecoin, and all that. That's the window dressing. That's the wallpaper. The fundamental aspect of what we know as cryptography or Bitcoin is the blockchain technology. It's the invention of a decentralized ledger or a record or a database that's distributed like a file on BitTorrent. It's the same concept.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have, in the future, before long, we're going to have companies, we're going to have retirement plans, we're going to have banking institutions, investment institutions. In fact, a lot of this already exists. It's just not big enough out there for people to really know about it. But we're going to have these things built into a decentralized ledger that people can access and gain value from without being taxed, without having to go through any state, using cryptography.
And I like this. I like this a lot. And excuse me if it looks really weird. I'm looking at chat on my other monitor. That's why I'm looking over here constantly. I want chat to obviously talk about this before as we go on, because they might have an input, and we can easily talk about it. For those of you who don't know, BitTorrent is an internet file sharing protocol, which is decentralized, and it works on this torrent this torrent protocol of everyone kind of uploads, instead of a central server holding the file, everyone sends you bits and pieces of the file to make the file transfer go faster. And you can do things with this you can encrypt these transfers, so as he was talking about. So in case anyone was a little lost on BitTorrent, that's the protocol. Sorry about that. I didn't want to.
Right, no, it's all right. I want to just kind of like jam pack my 10 minutes that I got, and I want to get a chance to thank you for having me on too. It's awesome.
Oh, no problem.
But so just to give some practical applications to some people, what the cutting, bleeding edge is of like cryptography and the technology right now. There's a project called Dark Wallet, which is brought to you by Cody Wilson and his team, which just won a startup accelerator at the Bitcoin 2014, I believe it was, or it was a Bitcoin hackathon right before that, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So they won that. They received some funding for Dark Wallet, and that's going to be like a Bitcoin wallet that's a web wallet that should, in theory, be able to have like coin tumbling inside of it, meaning your cryptocurrency that you have, any identity that could be associated to yourself with it can be instantly cleaned and washed off anytime you want within the wallet.
That's so cool.
Shrug off the history of your currency and start fresh.
That's cool. Jacob, what do you think about this? You haven't spoken tonight.
Well, like you, I don't really know as much. I know about as much as you do, Chuck.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the coins.
I tried.
Sorry, there's a little bit of delay.
Yeah, I tried getting it. Okay. I tried getting into it, but the price kind of got a little too high, so I'm kind of waiting so I can afford it. Investing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the good news is you don't need to actually wait because, and in fact, I'm going to plug someone real quick. I just was at a Bitcoin meetup last night, and I met a company, a founder of a company. It's called TrueCoin, TRU coin, like TRU TrueCoin, and it's not a separate coin. It's kind of like Coinbase, but instead of having to wait for like 2 weeks for your account to be registered and wait like another 5 days for your Bitcoin to clear, you can start an account with them. They do a quick microtransaction to your bank account or debit card or whatever, and then the next day you can buy as little as $5 or $10 worth of Bitcoin. So yeah, maybe Bitcoin will go down before it goes back up, but you could start tomorrow with 10 or 20 bucks worth and add 10 or 20 bucks worth every month and start a little portfolio. So
that's actually really cool, and you should get him on your show for sure.
He's hopefully going to be a guest. Yeah, we're shooting for him. So.
All right, so I think next, since we're getting close on the 10 minutes, Jacob, let's move on to your topic. And from what I understand, your topic's a little bit lighthearted compared to crypto anarchy, but that's okay. This is Liberty Geek. All topics welcome. So, what do you got for us, Jacob? What do you want us to discuss?
Well, I would discuss whether paladins, like from Pathfinder and D&D, could be
Mhm.
anarchists, like played as anarchists,
Oh, all right. For those of you who
role-wise,
don't,
role-play-wise.
yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, a paladin, in the typical sense that we're discussing, is if you've played Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, Dungeon World, any of those games, a paladin is a character typically who is basically kind of like a knight, but they're devoted to a deity. It's usually one deity, but the idea is that their deity's word goes before everything. You know, they have to abide by their deity. Their deity, in return for their favor, it's almost kind of like a capitalist exchange. In return for the deity's worship and favor, grants the paladin special powers, such as, lay on hands, which is a healing spell. And I'll answer this one right quick. I think the answer is yes. Because it depends on the deity that they worship for obvious reasons, because there's so many of them, and all the different D&D verses. There's like how many settings in Dungeons and Dragons alone? You got Eberron, you got you know I'm totally blanking out. You got Dark Sun, you've got all of these settings, and I mean they all each have their own gods. You got Bahamut, you got or Bahamut if you're Canadian. Haha, I thought that was funny. But I think the answer is yes, easily. Because in my opinion, now heavy-handed, a little seriousness to the topic, but we have in Voluntary Virtues Network alone, we have a show called Christianarchy. It's a Christian show about Christianity and anarchy and how they go together. Now, I think the same principle works for a paladin and anarchy. The only rule to the paladin is that you have to follow your god's commands. Certain gods might demand that you follow the laws of the land. Okay, it's that simple. But not all of them will. And in that case, you only follow your god's commands. And I think religion is not the same thing as a state, no matter what religion you're part of. And so I think that yes, you can have a anarchist paladin. Randall, maybe you're not familiar with it. Maybe you are. What do you think?
I'm gonna take a stab at it. I'm gonna take a shot at it. I'm not afraid.
Go
Um,
for it.
what I would say is I played D&D one time, but I played a lot of role-playing games in my day,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that in a sense, let me try to blow some minds here, right? You know how some of these games are shot in this like weird borderline between like ancient times and modern times. Like they
Yeah.
have a gun, but it's like in a cathedral or something.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's like the ruins of the old empire and the rebuilding of the moral age of voluntarists. You know what I mean? Like that's the anarcho paradise or something.
I mean, but it's so true though, because it's just like you play these games, and one of my games right now, which is it's like a Clint Eastwood western meets like Tolkien fantasy meets like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure if you're an anime fan. And basically the idea is that one of my party members is a paladin. And so far I have not seen her character be partial to any state or anything like that. Now, what the player's political view is, I don't know. That's none of my business, frankly.
Well,
But the character has not been partial to any state. Although there's not really much government intervention in my setting. It's all a bunch of little places. It's Wild West, So what do you think? What were you gonna say, Randall? Sorry I interrupted you.
no. I was trying to interrupt you. No, I was just gonna say like because you're more familiar. Like think about it like this: like how many different species types and creature types are there in a D&D environment? And like let's
Enough.
say right, and like let's say like just some of them like would it be like, oh, we have the first paladin president, like, or we have the first, like like no one would care. It'd be like, okay, every time we elect someone, it's a new species, like whatever.
First paladin president. I love it. I would love to see it. The modern day president, like paladin armor with this giant claymore. Oh, that'd be hilarious. But you've got a point. I mean, how many species? I'm pretty sure some of those species, each species, in Dungeons and Dragons alone, each species has its own culture. And depending on the setting on top of that, it has a subculture. So, and I'm pretty sure not all of these cultures have to be statist. And I think that it's a really interesting topic because, like I said, Jacob, this totally applies to real life. That's like asking, can a Jew be an anarchist? Can a Christian be an anarchist? Can a Muslim be an anarchist? Could a Buddhist be an anarchist? You know? And I think the question to all of those is yes. Big Fat Woman says she wants special powers in chat. I want special powers too, but I prefer the more arcane variety than the divine variety. Sorcerers represent.
Woo woo!
Yeah,
Those are
sorry.
fun.
Yeah, oh my god. Wizards, let's not even talk about how broken they are, right? Well, depending on the edition, but I think that, I mean, I don't know how much more there is to say about this topic because it literally comes down to, in the real life sense, can a real life religious practitioner become an anarchist? And I believe the answer is yes, especially if you view the concept of my God is not the state, my God is for me to follow, you know, but my God does not command all. He commands me and the followers of my religion. I mean, is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
This is coming from an atheist who prefers chaotic alignments.
Mm-hmm. Oh, all of my characters are usually chaotic. I've had chaotic neutrals, chaotic evils.
Yeah.
Evil character
Chaotic
was
good?
I think the closest I've ever had. Well, I had one character alignment shift, but that was on accident. We don't talk about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
Experience kind of
You guys
loose.
take your D&D serious, man.
you have no idea. Like,
You guys are hardcore, man.
I am extremely hardcore about that. To me, I think you should try it one day. Like, try it with one of my groups, Randall. I think you'd
Can we-
absolutely have a blast.
Can we do a live hangout D&D like at like
You know
3
what?
a.m.?
You know
I want to do it
what?
like
Yes.
2 in the morning to like 8 a.m. Like
Okay, on my other channel, the Atlantic Bromance, we actually, all the videos are unlisted and private, but we've actually recorded, like, for our group, we use the channel to, like, record our sessions, so in case someone was missing, they could watch the actual YouTube recording, and, like, so it's totally possible. You can easily capture it. Actually, Roll20, which is the online board we use, which is like, it's kind of like a virtual tabletop. It has a dice roller. You can make a map on it, you know, and it has a Google Hangouts app. So, I wonder if you could record that. That'd be pretty cool. I would love a voluntary virtues network, like Dungeons and Dragons game, and just like the whole party's
Star Wars.
or Star Wars, but the whole party's objective is to just fight statism.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be so crazy. See, right here.
I feel like
Okay.
we're gonna do this.
I want to do this
If
too.
we
I'm
were to
gonna
do
make
the
it in
Star
the
Wars
chat.
world, we'd be like part of the rebellion.
Oh my
fighting the
god.
Empire.
Yes. Big Fat Woman in the chat says that she is a Muslim anarchist. Boom! Paladin question answered. A paladin can be an anarchist depending on the god they worship. Boom.
If they worship the god of initiating aggression, then they can.
The god of the state,
Right.
like modern statism. Oh! All right.
Lord Obamius.
You guys are great. I totally want you guys back at my
Oh,
show
so much of
sometime.
Asmodeus.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to my topic, and I actually was struggling with this one all week. You know, I told you guys to have these topics, and I was like, we're all going to bring a topic to the table. And so my topic I actually want to cover is okay, this is more of a question than a topic, but I think it'd be good for discussion. And last week I covered on how to get more nerds into, you know, anarchy. So then this is where my question comes from. I'm asking you guys, because nerds have hobbies, right? So do either of you have a hobby, right? Think of all the hobbies you have. Do either of you have a hobby that the state is infringed on? Randall, let's go to you first.
Oh, I
Do you
got the
have a
best
hobby?
one.
All
I got
right,
the best one.
all right, go.
And I'm not gonna say what you think. I'm not gonna say anything recreationally like you think.
All right, I'm
gonna
listening.
I'm gonna say when I picked up a skateboard and I was like 15, 14 years old, I didn't know how much I didn't like the state until I was trying to just have fun and learn a new fun activity with my friends. and I was getting hassled by the cops and brought downtown at 16 years old for skateboarding at the
You
local
can't skateboard on
store.
this sidewalk, young man. What do you think you're doing?
Right.
You should be in school right now, learning our status indoctrination ways. Yes. But, you know,
Yeah. That's it.
it's true. Like, how many times do we see, like, it's one thing when an owner of private property says, hey, don't skate in front of my store, please. My customers are trying to go in and out, right?
It's never the owner. It's never the owner of the store. If the owner of the store ever came out and said, guys, I don't want you to skateboard down here, we'd be like, no problem, sir.
Yeah.
We're the politest people in the world. Cops come by and they're like, you can't skate there. I'm like, the store's closed. It's 10 o'clock at night. Why not?
Right?
There's no one here.
Like, you're disturbing the customers. Sir, the store is closed and there's clearly no one in the parking lot. We're going to have to take you downtown because you're talking back to me. Like, oh my God. So, Jacob, what about you? Do you have a hobby that has been infringed on by the state in some way?
Drag racing.
Really?
No, I just.
I was going to say,
Um,
you got me excited for a second for a story time. Oh, man. You're the worst. I'm just kidding.
well,
Cross-dressing's one, right?
A whole new meaning to drag racing.
That's where I got that from. I guess I just heard drag and it came to me.
But for real, Jacob, do you have a hobby that you think has been infringed on by the state? Or I guess not think, it hasn't.
Well, it's
He's
been
thinking.
infringed by the
State doesn't allow
state,
that.
but were you around for like the Satanic Scare of the 80s, whatever?
I'm not that young. I'm not that old.
Well, okay.
I know I look it.
Well, there was that happening, and
Yeah,
like which was supposed to like afraid that people would call their stuff satanic because they have demons and devils and whatnot. Could have been infringed by the state by banning that Satanism.
It was pretty close. I mean,
stuff.
it was the whole Dungeons and Dragons, especially since it was the really popular one at the time, was like during the 80s. I wasn't around for it, but I know about it because who doesn't, right? If you're in the hobby, I mean, everyone was like, "Oh, this is Satanism. You're teaching my kids black magic from these books that have math in them," and it's just like, okay. And there was, especially at the time, 80s was an interesting time for government, and I'm pretty sure we came this close to like some sort of government intervention. I mean, you know what? Tabletop has been infringed on by the state. If anyone is familiar with GURPS, all right? GURPS.
Yes.
Yes, GURPS stands for oh God, it stands for something really
Generic
ridiculous.
Universal Role-Playing System.
Thank you. Okay, so generic universal role-playing system, and GURPS is basically this. It's just a blanket of rules with no setting, but it's supposed to be like each book can cover every single thing you could ever need out of a role-playing game. It's ridiculously math-heavy. It drives me nuts. I've never played it, never will. But there was this one book they put out, and I don't know why I remember this, but there is this one book they put out about for modern games, and it was about like cybersecurity. Like how your characters could handle cybersecurity. And one of the things they do, GURPS, I'm not a huge fan of the system. I don't hate it, but I'm not a huge fan. But one thing you give them credit for is they do their homework on their settings so that they can make it as crunchy and number heavy as possible, because that's what GURPS is famous for. And the book that they were working on before it was released was actually seized by the FBI at the time, because they had hired a real computer hacker as a consultant for this. And they thought that the company that was publishing this was literally actually trying to publish an actual manuscript for hacking computers.
Yeah, that's state for you.
I had two more things.
It's like, it's called, if you, it's like the state, and it's not just the state, it's the state being extremely ignorant, It's like, we didn't do any research, we just saw cyber computers, and we're going to take your book. And maybe we won't even let you sell it, because we could do that, because we're the state. And it's like, But yeah, it was actually seized. And the company actually used that for their advertising purposes. They were like, this book is so authentic that the FBI seized our book. That's pretty legit advertising. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got any words on that, Randall?
No, I think old boy over there had something to say. You're the guest.
All right, Jacob.
Jacob, yeah, my
You're
bad.
looking
Oh,
itching to. Yeah. What do you
there's
think?
also another thing.
Hmm.
Well, I said another thing. Remember those old 80s cartoons that would pretty much sell toys? Like Transformers, He-Man?
Mm-hmm.
It was illegal to do that in the 70s.
Was it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Good job. Are you a collector yourself?
No, I just like watching the shows. Well,
Good enough.
Transformers, at least.
Hey, you know, Transformers is pretty awesome. They literally are robots in disguise. All right,
I know. I
but
remember them being like out in the open, feeling, God, it feels so great to be a robot, giant robot out in the open.
I know.
Most of the time.
But I didn't know it was illegal for that stuff to happen in the 70s because it happens all the time now. Like, literally. Like, I'm pretty sure just about every single cartoon sells figures.
You
I mean-
didn't know. You didn't test them. I did.
Yeah, but
Doing Starscream.
yeah, but you know, it's dumb. I mean, maybe one day these shows will sell these figures and we can pay Bitcoin for them, or Litecoin, or Dogecoin. Dogecoin would probably be most appropriate, but you know what, guys? We've got 4 minutes left on the show. Let's go to the chat for any last minute topics on their part. Let's see.
I've got another one.
What do you got? Let's see. What do you got for us?
The chat.
Chat's being interesting right now. Not interesting enough that I want to repeat what they're saying, but
Have you ever seen the Cronies on YouTube?
the what?
The Cronies, like, it was this kind of satire.
Oh yeah,
There's only-
that show that came out from like. Yeah, I never saw it, but I heard about it, and I'm pretty sure wasn't that the show that got slammed by the right side for being like social, like yeah, it was supposed to be like socialist propaganda or something like that, is what they called it. I mean, you know, the states and all those who worship are basically the same thing, but you know.
I mean, it was like a YouTube thing on a parody, kind of.
Randall.
More like anti-crony capitalist. It's more
I
like
mean,
anti-crony capitalist, but I guess the right would be sniffed about that.
I mean, exactly. All of us here, I'm pretty sure none of us are crony capitalists. I'm pretty sure all of us are, you know, true, you know, pure capitalism and not crony capitalism. So, 2 minutes left. Randall, do you have any last words? You've been the most quiet now.
Yeah, you know what? You guys have me beat in the geek category, so I kind of feel like I don't want to try to like step with some half-assed geekiness. You know what I mean?
Hey.
I really try sometimes. I played Magic the Gathering. Like that's I could talk about that.
That's enough. That's totally enough. You know, that's enough cred for me. Like, especially I can't play it nowadays. Like, holy crap, that crap's too expensive. But like, you got to build a new deck every year. Like, thanks, Wizard of the Coast. But I mean,
yeah, I got a card game after Yu-Gi-Oh.
But you know, thank you so much, Randall. Anarcho-Capitalism is what I'm going to call it now. But I really hope it takes off. It really is something that I really think we should head towards in the future, especially if we are going to make it to that anarchist society, that anarcho-capitalist society, specifically for me. You know, because that's what I like to consider myself. That voluntary society, what have you, it's going to be absolutely huge. And Jacob, thank you so much. Your topic, which you probably thought was a lighthearted topic, got into an actual heavy-hitting, real topic of religion and anarchy. And you know what? I had a blast tonight. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Chuck.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. And we'll see you guys next week. This episode will turn into an actual video after the video is over, after I end the hangout. And thank you guys so much for watching Chuck the Liberty Geek on Voluntary Virtues Network, brought to you by Michael Shanklin. And see you guys next week. Thank you very much. Bye.
Later.
Bye.